Hey, how you doing? You must have guessed I'm making an Italian dish for you tonight, and that's right, I'm going to be making a stuffed pasta dish with prawns and cheese that's outstanding. I'm sure you're going to love it. So I'm going to put some oil. First I want to make the filling. So I have some oil over here. The pan is quite hot. And to that, I'm going to add some garlic. And let's stir that off. You can see that's getting brown really fast because my oil is hot. So I think that's good. I'm going to add some onions to it. And I have some peppers. So I'm going to add some yellow bell peppers. You can add red, any color you want is fine. So we add a little bit of that. Give that a quick toss. And to this I'm going to add a little bit of white wine just to deglaze it. And of course the wine adds a lot of flavor as well. Alright, so let's cook that. So while that's cooking, just show you, this is what I'm using today. I've already pre-cooked the pasta. These are large rigatoni shells. So once the mixture is ready, I'll be stuffing these. So let's get to the next step. I want to add now some salt and pepper. Just a little bit for flavor. That should do it. Get some salt in there. And this is a dish that's a sure winner with the kids. I mean, kids love pasta, and if it's creamy and cheesy, even better. So there you go. That should do it with the salt. And I'm also going to add a little bit of paprika, just about half a teaspoon. We don't want it too spicy. And this is basil, so I'll add a little bit of basil as well. And some parsley. So just a few of those leaves, just get them in there. I think that looks good. And give that one more quick toss. And the wine's about dried out, but the flavor is still in there. So at this point, I'm going to add my prawns. And we want to give that a quick stir. This will take about 2 minutes to cook. So we're going to let these cook off and then get the next step. So I've cooked off my prawns or shrimp, and then this bowl, I'm going to let them cool off for a little bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to start making a roux for my cream sauce. Alright, so for that, step one, we add some butter to our pan, and that's already sizzling. And I'm going to add some flour to that, and this is all-purpose flour. And we want to make sure we whisk that well. You don't want any lumps in that sauce. So we whisk away, and normally you would cook this for longer to get a nice brown texture, but I don't want to cook it for long because I want a nice white sauce. So I'm going to cook it just for a bit. That looks good. And to this, now I'm going to add some chicken stock. So we'll add a little bit at a time and keep stirring. Okay, so now as you can see, we have a nice smooth mixture. Also, when I cooked my prawns earlier, I had some of that wonderful, flavorful juice left over, which is essentially a stock. So I'm going to add a bit of that. You don't have to add all of it. We just add adequate amounts to make sure we get that flavor incorporated into our sauce. Maybe a bit more. Also, finally, I'm going to add, you want to do this as the last step, I'm going to add some fresh cream to this. If you don't have cream, you can add milk, it works just fine. And we're going to take this off heat because we don't want a very thick sauce, because that consistency looks perfect to me. So you can see what our sauce looks like. It's nice creamy white sauce. So we will leave that aside and get to our prawns. That's good to go. So we have our prawns here now that are relatively cool. It's still a bit warm. So we're going to finish this off. To do that, I'm going to add some chives, chopped chives to it. And I also want to add some cream cheese so it all binds together well. So that's about 2 or 3 tablespoons of cream cheese. That should be adequate. And we'll start just incorporating, mixing that together. And we'll be done with this in just a minute. Okay, so I gave up trying to use a spoon. I mean, by hand clearly mixes better. What I've also done is added some mozzarella cheese to this. This is grated mozzarella, but I think I need a little bit more. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that. And the rest of it we're going to use as a topping before this goes into the oven. I think that looks good. Give that a quick toss. Perfect. Now we want to stuff our shells. So I'm going to move here. I showed you this earlier. These have been pre-cooked to about 90%, a little less than al dente. So I'm going to just hold them like this and stuff them. And be generous with the stuffing. Just make sure you have enough to fill the whole shell. You don't want to taste plain pasta in this dish. So I think that is good right there. So look at that. You have stuffing on both sides. So we set that down and we just repeat the same process for all our shells, and then it's ready to go in the oven. Alright, as you can see, I've stuffed my shells. I have about a dozen over here. So now we take our sauce and just drizzle it on. Oh, look at that gooey, beautiful sauce. That is what is going to give this dish all its flavor. So we want to make sure the pasta is nice and coated. If it's not, then the pasta is going to dry out. So make sure that you coat all of the rigatoni shells with this wonderful sauce. So we have all our shells that are nicely coated. Okay, that should do it. And so I'm going to add to this the rest of my mozzarella. And this is homemade mozzarella. And if you haven't seen the video yet, guys, my wife Anu made a video on how to make mozzarella at home. So please do watch that as well. It's a fantastic video and a no-fail recipe. It's also the top video on this channel. So we're gonna add that mozzarella. Perfect. And I'm also gonna add some Parmesan cheese, which adds a lot of flavor. So I have grated Parmesan here. If you have fresh Parmesan, that works too. Just grate it and add an adequate amount on all of our shells. That's perfect. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake this off so the cheese melts and the sauce incorporates and the dish comes together. So I have my oven that's been preheated to about 150 degrees C. So I'm going to toss this in for about 20 minutes. So in it goes. And when it comes back, that dish is ready to be served up. Okay, so that's out of the oven. Look at that. The cheese is melted, looks perfectly gooey. And when we pick one up, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's beautiful. And there you go, folks. Stuffed pasta with prawns and cheese. Can't go wrong. Do subscribe, and I'll see you next time.